topic of global warming has become a highly debated and polarizing issue in recent years, with scientists and mainstream media often being accused of lying to the public about its severity and causes. While it's essential to acknowledge that the overwhelming majority of climate scientists agree that human-induced global warming is real and a pressing concern, there are some arguments that suggest certain interests may be distorting the narrative for their own benefit. One of the primary reasons scientists and mainstream media may be perceived as lying about global warming is the influence of corporate and government interests. Fossil fuel companies, in particular, have a significant stake in downplaying the severity of climate change, as it could lead to increased regulation and a decline in their profits. These companies have been known to fund research and lobbying efforts that cast doubt on the science behind global warming, often using tactics such as cherry-picking data and highlighting minor uncertainties in the research. Mainstream media outlets, which rely heavily on advertising revenue from these companies, may be reluctant to publish stories that challenge their interests, thereby perpetuating a biased narrative. Another factor contributing to the perceived dishonesty is the complexity of climate science itself. The topic of global warming is multifaceted and involves various disciplines, including atmospheric science, oceanography, and economics. This complexity can lead to misunderstandings and miscommunications among scientists, policymakers, and the general public. Furthermore, the predicted nature of climate modeling means that there is always some degree of uncertainty associated with forecasts, which can be seized upon by skeptics as evidence that science is not settled. However, this uncertainty is a natural part of the scientific process and does not necessarily imply that the fundamental principles of global warming are flawed. Mainstream media also plays a significant role in shaping the public's perception of global warming. The 24-hour news cycle and the need for sensational headlines can create a culture of exaggeration and alarmism, where minor setbacks or controversies are blown out of proportion. This can lead to a perception that scientists and media outlets are lying or exaggerating about the severity of climate change. Additionally, the media's tendency to provide equal airtime to both sides of the debate, regardless of the scientific consensus, can create a false sense of balance and give undue credibility to skeptics. Despite these factors, it's essential to recognize that the overwhelming majority of climate scientists agree that human-induced global warming is real and a pressing concern. The evidence from multiple lines of research, including temperature records, shrinking ice sheets, and shifts in the distribution of plants and animals, all point to a significant and accelerating trend of global warming. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change (IPCC), which represents the consensus view of the scientific community, has consistently reported that human activities, particularly the emission of greenhouse gases from burning fossil fuels, are the primary cause of recent climate change. In conclusion, while there are certainly interests and factors that may contribute to a distorted narrative about global warming, it's essential to recognize that the scientific consensus is clear: human-induced global warming is real, and it's a pressing concern that requires immediate attention and action. Rather than accusing scientists and mainstream media of lying, we should focus on promoting a more nuanced understanding of the complex issues surrounding climate change and supporting policies that prioritize the health of our planet. By doing so, we can work towards a more sustainable future and mitigate the worst effects of global warming. Ultimately, it's crucial to approach this topic with a critical and open-minded perspective, recognizing both the uncertainties and certainties in the science, and to support efforts to address this pressing global challenge.